hook puller like this, and here's the hook here, and grab the hook and pull the hook through so the leader comes through the hole where the hook was. And you got to have something on your boat to attach it to. My boat happens to have 2 cleats just inside the gunnel, and I can pull the hook up and hang it right on those cleats. So the hook will just go like this. And then you take your dikes and you cut the leader, and the leader pulls right through the fish, and the fish swims away uninjured.
Okay, one couple of really quick things is we just talked about leadering the fish and all. And no matter how careful you are with leadering that fish, you get a hold of that leader and the fish is really feisty and he takes off on you. No matter how careful you are when you tie it, there's a tag end to this little knot. And if you leader that fish without gloves and that knot goes through your hand, you can open up your hand the same as you just took a knife and cut it right across. So do not ever leader one of these fish without putting a glove on. It's a different thing of getting leader touch where John's fighting the fish and the fish is close and I'll reach out and just slap the leader. That's a leader touch. The fish is officially caught. Now he might be pissed and go out and fight another 15 minutes, but he's a caught fish. But when you're actually leadering the fish for a release and you go like that and that 150-pound fish takes off and you can't see it, but there's a little tag end to that knot. And no matter how careful you cut it off, he can open up your hand. So do never leader them fish without putting a glove on your hand. When you do leader the fish, my boat is set up with a glove on each side of the boat, port and starboard, hanging on a clothespin clip. I got a needle nose and a side cutter on both sides of the boat, so if that fish comes in starboard, I don't have to be going all over there to get my equipment. He's a starboard fish. I got all my tools there to release him. He's a port side fish. It's the same thing. You want to have a knife, and like that guy from Australia, you don't want to have a sissy knife. You want to have a real knife. Like that dude who confronted him. This is a knife.
That's a knife.
Anyway, side cutters, get a hold of that leader, and JC talked about trying to remove the hook, and it's a good policy if you can remove the hook if it's easy to do. If it's not, a lot of times you'll stress that fish more trying to get that hook out. So depending on how that fish is hooked, if you can see that, you can turn it around and grab it with them needle nose and pull it out. Sometimes it's just better off to cut that hook right at the knot, at the thing, and let them swim off with a little piercing. It'll get over it. So. What else, Rob? Get the cover anything? Eddie?
If he swims around your anchor line like you mentioned earlier,
You got to get him. Nobody can help you.
what do?
You got to get up there. You got to lay your ass up on the thing and take the rod and pass it on. We're fishing together. If you want to disqualify the fish, you can hand it one side to me or the other. Oh, it reminded me. We got a rule on the boat with the rod and the reel. If it go overboard with it, we retrieve the rod and reel first and the angler second. But that's another thing you're talking about, controlling the fish. If you can control that fish, you can avoid that anchor line mess, and too many people lose fish right up at the boat. It's the same thing with the transom now. You get near that transom, that's another reason for the 8-foot rod. You got trim tabs hanging down there, you got transducers hanging down there, you got the lower unit hanging down there. So that 8-foot rod, when that fish is up close to the boat and he makes that dive under the boat, you lean over the gunnel and you immerse that 8-foot rod almost up to the reel. And I've been, many a time, I've been pinned up against the gunnel like this on the starboard side of the boat, and you hear that some bitch splashing on the other side of the boat. He's up there jumping. So you got that 8-foot rod where you can get it around the motor, down around the motor, right up, and you got it now. You got working the fish again. So it's all part of the control the fish, and they can get really feisty. And when they see the boat, the one guy, Scott Barry, who fishes with me, bought me a mask. He makes me wear the mask. He says, of course, they know who you are. When they see your face, they leave. So he makes me wear a mask now where I'm leaving. Any other, we've up here way too long.